The sun is out again today and it's making me so happy. If you live in a warm climate, I feel like you don't appreciate the sun as much as you do when you live in a cold climate. And it's not even warm out. I think it's maybe like 10 degrees, but the sun's out, so I'm happy today. I'm also happy because today's video is a collaboration with Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. So she reached out and she was like, hey, wouldn't it be fun? Because Crystal and I have like pretty opposite reading tastes. I feel like she tends to like a little bit more like lighter. She reads a lot of historicals, so that kind of is like already a separator a bit between us, but she really likes the soft boy kind of heroes. And she still likes some like darker ones, but I don't read as many of that, and I read a lot of like darker heroes. So she was like, hey, what do you think about doing a collab where like you recommend like soft boy heroes and I recommend like dark kind of like messed up heroes? And I was like, love it. Love it. So that's what we're going to do today. So I will link her channel and her video down below. Make sure you go check it out while you're over there. If you are not already subscribed, all that good stuff, make sure that you show her some love over there. I love watching Crystal's content. She has some of my favorite vlogs, especially like I love just putting on her vlogs while I'm like doing stuff around my house. It just like gives me like the perfect vibes. Also, every single time she goes to a soda shop, I'm like, I need to go to Utah ASAP because I want to go to a soda shop so bad. So anyways, go ahead and jump right on in. So y'all know I had a little bit of slim pickings for this video. So here's the thing. All of the people that I'm putting in this video, to me, are soft boys. So maybe they're not like the softest of soft, but for my reading taste, these ones are the ones that I found that I think are the most like lighthearted kind of dudes. So first off, we're going to start with probably my favorite lighthearted hero that I've ever found, and that is Cole from Nice Guys Don't Win by Macaulay Smeltzer. So this book follows Cole and Zoe, and it is roommates, forced proximity, friends to lovers, coach's daughter, college, sports romance. So Cole, he originally has a roommate at the start of the semester. However, his roommate's parents are making him move back into the dorms, and Cole is left without a roommate. So his roommate Teddy ends up going and finding this random girl in line at the like academic office who she does not have a dorm. She was a late transfer and they have no more dorms available for her. So she's like, well, where am I supposed to live? And Teddy's like, hey, I have a roommate who now needs a roommate. Why don't you move in with him? And Zoe ends up accepting. So it's their romance. It's very like slow burn too. Just like the friendship that they develop first all is amazing. And there's like some caretaking in here. Cole is quite literally like the sweetest ever. Like, and he doesn't really have like a super like possessive or like jealous streak. However, when she is like dancing one night out at a bar and he sees her dancing and then he sees her dancing with someone else, he's more just like, I'm gonna go in there and take my shot. And he does. He's respectful. He's considerate. He's just, oh, he's so sweet. Like genuinely, I've said this before, I think with him, but it's like, he's the type of guy that like you would actually want in real life. You know, like I don't want a Zayd Meadows in real life realist. I mean, like, do I? Maybe, but like Cole is genuinely like, if he was in real life, I'd want to go after him. I'd want to shoot my shot. Even if I got shot down, I'd still shoot it. And then I didn't know about including this one, but I'm going to anyways. And that's Real Players Never Lose. This is the third book in that series, but again, it's a standalone. But this one is Teddy's book, which I kind of alluded to. He was Cole's original roommate. And Teddy as well is such a soft boy. He has very much like golden retriever energy. So he comes from a very wealthy family. However, he is in some hot water with his dad for getting in trouble, being a little bit irresponsible. And his dad is like, you need to start keeping like a cleaner image or else like your trust fund, everything is going to be gone. So he's like, okay, he's in school now and he's trying to like, you know, clean his image up a little bit. But then when his dad finds him one night after a bit of a party, he like lies and covers and says that like, oh, I actually have a girlfriend. Like I'm not out dating all these like random girls or hooking up with all these random girls. And his dad is like, okay, bring her to dinner. And then Teddy's like, oh shoot, I gotta find a fake girlfriend. So he is waiting in line to get a new student ID because he's always losing his, and he ends up I guess he's always running into people in the academic offices because he runs into Vanessa in there, and she is trying to figure out her tuition. Some of her scholarship money did like not come through or something, so she's kind of like, crap, I literally don't have money to stay in school. But she's like, I cannot drop out, like I can't go home, I need to stay in school. And Teddy's like, hey, if you fake date me, I'll pay your tuition. And she's kind of like, why would you want to fake date me when you can like have any girl on campus? And he's like, because you're not going to like be all over me or like fall in love with me. So she agrees, and it's their romance. So it's like fake dating, friends to lovers again. And Vanessa's plus size, which I really appreciated. I really loved her like representation in here. She's just like a plus size woman existing and falling in love, and I really loved that. So yeah, but Cole definitely has golden retriever energy with her, but he's not afraid to get his hands dirty when he he finds out some shady things that some of like Vanessa's high school bullies did to her. He's not gonna stand for that. But with Vanessa, he's like the sweetest sweetheart. Okay, next up we have one of my recent reads, and that is A Place Without You by Julie Ann. So this one follows Bodhi and Henna. So this one is like it's a guidance counselor student romance, and it's an age gap romance. It's kind of insta-lovey turned into like an actual relationship, I guess. So Henna and Bodhi, they are both at Coachella. They meet at Coachella one year, and Bodhi is working at the event on like the lighting crew, and Henna just happens to be there, and they see each other and they kind of like hit it off. Henna sees him and immediately is like, I want him, and pursues him, and they have like a great night together. They have like a good morning after together, whatever, but then they make some like plans to hang out afterwards, or to like drive back home together, I think. But then all of a sudden Bodhi is like, hey, I can't do that anymore. I have to get home for my dad, and he like dips without saying goodbye. And Henna's very much like, what? Like, we were meant to be. She's very like free-spirited, and she was very like stars are aligning with them. So then when he left, it kind of like threw her off a little bit. But then when she shows up to school for her senior year, she finds out that her new guidance counselor is none other than Bodhi. So now she's finishing out high school, but she just doesn't really care. She just wants to be free-spirited, see the world. She wants to see it with Bodhi, but Bodhi has very different responsibilities that he cannot just abandon, even if he wants to. So it's their romance. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It's like a lot about the emotional connection between the two of them. The insta love for me somehow worked in the beginning because they just had like amazing banter right off the bat. Like, they just had chemistry, and that really worked for me. And he's just the sweetest with her. He's such like a kind soul, and yeah, he's definitely like, in my terms, like a soft boy. Next up, another one of my recent reads was Offside by Avery Keelan. So this one, it follows Chase and Bailey, and it's a hockey enemies to lovers romance. So you may say enemies to lovers and soft boy. Like, how does that totally mix? Here's the thing. So Chase is the star hockey player at the rival school, and Bailey is the girlfriend of one of the stars on the other hockey team at this other school. But on her 21st birthday, her boyfriend ends up breaking up with her, and she's like, what is this bull? And kind of when he breaks up with her, the rest of the team and like their girlfriends all kind of like turn on her a little bit, because now she's like not with him anymore. And one night when she's out with some friends, just like blowing off some steam at a bar, she ends up running into Chase, and she knows who he is, but he doesn't realize that like she was this one guy's ex-girlfriend, and also her brother plays on the rival team as well. So like he doesn't fully like realize that. And then when he does, he's still like, well, I still want to take you home. Now here's the thing. He is a bit of a playboy, but he is so sweet with Bailey. Like, literally the sweetest dude ever. They have very mature conversations. Like, they're able to work through any sorts of like problems, jealousy, things that arise. They're able to work through it respectfully. He never just gets like impatient with her. He's so patient and caring and loving with her. And yes, is he willing to throw down when her ex tries to trash talk her on the ice to him? Oh, he throws down. But then when he's with Bailey, he's like this soft little puddle of goo, and it's the cutest thing ever. So anyways, it's their romance, so it's like enemies to lovers, because obviously they're like rivals. But they very quickly decide that it's like, does it really matter that they're rivals? No, they're attracted to one another. And it's definitely like they create a friendship before even going to like the next level. So I really like that as well, because I like it first when they're kind of like well, here's the thing. I don't like friends to lovers, but I like when they build like a friendship and like a mutual love for each other before then that love kind of like morphs into more, you know? Next up, I have a historical romance on here. The Lady Gets Lucky by Joanna Shoup. So this one follows Kit and Alice, and I read this one last year when Rachel chose my books for a reading vlog that we did together, and I fell in love with this book, and I fell in love with Kit in this book. Kit is like a playboy. I don't know what they would have called them back then, but he like, you know, he gets around, he has his fun, you know, whatever, and he's like, I'm not ever going to get married. And Alice, she's a bit, I say a bit older. She's like not old, but like in society terms there, it's like she's kind of like needs to get married, and like I think her mom is really pushing her to get married, and her dad is kind of like, you know, let her find someone when she finds someone. And Alice she doesn't really know how to like talk to men. She doesn't know how to like entice them. She doesn't really know how to just like do this whole courting type thing and like being in society. So one day she and Kit, they're away at some like mansion, and they kind of like talk, like she realizes that she can kind of talk to him as a friend, and like they begin to kind of like bond a little like relationship-ness. He ends up asking him like, hey, will you kind of like teach me how to attract and entice men? And at first he's like, I can't do that. Like, I don't want to like ruin you, you know? But then when she offers him a proposition in return that she'll teach him how to cook because he wants to like open up a restaurant and like learn all these recipes, she's like, hey, my chef has taught me a bunch of things, so like I can teach you a bunch of things, so I'll teach you and you teach me. And it's like mutually beneficial, but of course they end up falling in love. And it's so cute. And Kit was just like, he was just romantic. Some of the stuff that he would say, he was just like so sweet to her, but he could also be like so kind of like, with her. I was just like very pleasantly surprised by the dynamic in this book. And yeah, Kit was very just like sweet and gentle and caring with her. And he always like did try to put her first, which is like what I kind of put under that like soft boy category as well, if they're like thinking of her ahead of themselves, you know? Next up is The Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. So this one follows Troy and Erica, and this one is a reverse age gap, which means it's older woman, younger man, friend's son slash kind of like boss employee-ish. So Erica, she is married and she ends up finding out that her husband is having an affair with his boss. So she's getting a divorce from him, you know, she's on her own. She's kind of trying to like live her own life and just trying to like get her mojo back. She works in music. She's like got a successful career, but just in her personal life, she's kind of like flailing a little bit now. When she's out by the pool sunbathing topless one day, her friend's son, Troy, comes around to her backyard to like do something with her pool. Ends up seeing her and he's like, oh, I'm kind of into that. And she sees him and she's like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be with you, but she's also into him as well. And it's their romance. And here's the other layer on top of that, is that Troy really wants to be a musician. He ends up, you know, working with Erica on that. So it's also like forbidden in that aspect as well. And this is just really good. Troy, I'd say he kind of has a little bit of like golden retriever energy with her too. He knows, or he doesn't like, he can't know and understand fully what she's going through, because obviously it's like her entire life is kind of upended a little bit and he hasn't had something like that, but he's very patient with her and like wanting her to feel comfortable in like their decisions and trying to like help her embrace herself and kind of being like, yes, you've had this happen to you, but that doesn't make you like any less worthy of a person at all. And like you can still be open to new experience and like learning that and helping her like explore that. And it's just so fun. Last two. Next up is Dare You to Hate Me by B. Celeste. So this one follows Ivy and Aiden. I think her name's Ivy. And it's a college football childhood friends to lovers romance. So when Ivy and Aiden, they grew up next door to each other, they were really great friends. And at 16, Ivy asked him to run away with her because she had a really bad home life and she needed to get away. However, Aiden had like a really good home life and he was like, I just can't do that. You know, he played football, he was really good at it and he had these plans and he's like, I just can't like leave and run away. So he says no and she ends up leaving, and that's the last that he sees for her for a while, until they are now both in college. And he walks into a coffee shop one day and she's the barista working behind the counter, and they end up reconnecting. They just have a lot to work through. Ivy has been through a lot in their years apart, mentally and emotionally and physically too, but like her mental health is like has really drained her a lot and she's still really struggling with that. And the way that Aiden is like, he's not pushy at all about like having her open up to him or anything. He's just like, I'm here when you want to tell me. I'm like a safe space for you. Remember, like we used to be best friends. Like you can tell me these things. I want to be here for you. Like I'm not here for you out of any obligations or any expectations. I just want to be here for you because I love you. Oh my God. And just like seeing her realize that he's such a safe space and can open up to her, it's just beautiful. I love their dynamic. He also she ends up being his first, because normally, you know, it's kind of like, it tends to be the other way around, but nope. Ivy's been with some people, but Aiden has not, and she helps him kind of explore that as well. It's just so good. He is just such a sweetheart and very patient with her. And also, so he's playing football and wants to like play professionally one day, but he's kind of like dealing with that. That's super heavy into the sports romance aspect of it. There is like some, but I would say like if you're not the biggest fan of like a lot of sports and books, that like this one doesn't really have like a ton of football, because like I don't really care about football. And last but not least, we have Teacher by Fiona Cole. So this one, Daniel and Hannah. So this is the 6th book in the Voyeur series. So these are all standalone, so you don't have to read the others in order to read this one. However, you do just kind of get some more like background on Hannah going into this one, but obviously she tells her own story in here. So she and her twin sister were trafficked when they were younger, and her twin sister ended up dying, but Hannah was rescued and taken out of the trafficking. But ever since then, rightfully so, she's been very scared about like dating, being with men, and just like kind of putting herself out there, but she's also reached this point now where she's like, I want that connection. I want to be like, quote unquote, like normal. Like she's like, I just want to be able to go out to a bar and like take a guy home and like feel comfortable in that. She doesn't really know how to do that. She can't just do that right off the bat. So she sees her brother's best friend, Daniel, and she's like, hey, I trust you. I know you. Will you help me out? And Daniel is initially very resistant, obviously because of his friendship with her brother, and also because there is a bit of an age gap there and he knows what she's been through. And he's like, I don't want to do anything to like hurt you. I don't want to like hurt you more emotionally. And he's like, I'm never going to fall in love. So like, if you fall in love with me, like that's not going to work. Like, I don't want to hurt you, but like I'm closed for business emotionally. But once he like sees Hannah and sees her struggling, he's like, I can't, like I need to help you. Like I want to help you. Anyways, he starts like teaching her some things and like getting her comfortable with like herself again, but also with a man again. And oh my God, again, the patience that this man has and the caretaking and the kindness, but then also like the dirty talk that he unloads on her. So good. And just seeing him like really work with her also put all of her trust in him and him like cradle that so gently and take care of it so well. Love. Okay, maybe I do like soft boys more than I thought after talking in this video. Like maybe I do enjoy the like nice heroes. So anyways, those are all of my soft boy book recommendations. So like I said, Crystal's going to have like the complete opposite. So whatever mood you're looking for, you can find both in our videos. Like I said, I will have Crystal's link down below. Make sure you go watch it now that you're done hearing all of these soft boys. So that way you can balance that out with some psychos. So anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.